Shinonome High School has it. The champion is basically 9 out of 10. At this time, Principal Fang can be described as ugly, and his excitement has not dissipated until now. God pity you. As a veteran school, Dongyun High School is not too prominent among the major key high schools in Jiangnan. The school has the best record in school history, and it is only the 8th place. But that was a lot of more than 20 years ago. After taking over the position of principal, the best grades continued to decline. If it wasn't for the number of people in the main line to be retained, I'm afraid his position as principal would also come to an end. Today, the first results of the country's compulsory education support have appeared. The number of people alone exceeds the sum of the previous 2 sessions, and at this juncture, this college entrance examination is particularly special and important. If the champion of Jiangnan province gets it, Dongyun High School will soar in the future, and the resources of the Education Bureau will be tilted in the next few years. In disguise, it will benefit more students in Dongyun City in the future. Principal Fang is over 70 years old, and although his vitality does not seem to have weakened much, his mind is no longer young. After more than 20 years of retirement from the front line, there has been no progress in strength, and he just wants to leave his name in the history of education, greedy for fame and benefit more Dongyun students. Now, this dream is getting closer and closer, and it is almost within reach. Principal, the Education Bureau is calling. The secretary on the side trotted over with his mobile phone in his hand. It seems that the news still can't be hidden. Principal Fang cleared his throat, and his face regained his composure to take the phone again. At this time, the screen still locked the perspective on Yunshin, and the audience was speculating about what the reward for clearing the customs was. I don't know. Anyway, the higher the evaluation, the richer the reward, and there must be free attribute points and skill points among them, which are the most needed things for unemployed people. Look, the equipment has fallen, 2 pieces of gold quality equipment. At this moment, even the teacher was a little envious. After all, they didn't have a few pieces of gold quality equipment on them. Something is wrong. The stone pedestal collapsed. Wait. There was a hole in the ground. Could this be a hidden level? At this moment, even the invigilator's face changed greatly. Some dungeons do have hidden levels. But I haven't heard of anyone triggering the goblin dungeon, so the question is, what are the trigger conditions? Based on the example of the previous trigger conditions, he inexplicably wondered if it should be the highest difficulty to clear the level without damage. He went down. No matter what, the screen, male protagonist, still jumped down and came to the 2nd floor of the dungeon. As soon as he landed, there was a long underground passage, and it didn't take long for his figure to come to a side hall full of goblin monsters. Even if it was a hidden level, everyone was not worried, because the teacher had already explained that this was a bronze copy after all, and the strength would not exceed much. Everyone has also seen Yunshin's ability to execute the commander in a few seconds, so naturally they don't doubt that something will happen to him. In fact, Yunshin's handling of the 2nd underground city became simpler and faster. I saw that he held the scepter, and omitted all chanting and gesture guidance, and frantically began to enchant instantaneously. Fireball, under his cast, the fireball continued to explode. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen fireballs wantonly plunged the entire side hall into a sea of fire. 70 or 80 goblin monsters were buried in the flames, melting into scum under the blazing flames. Damn! What's going on? Every student in the audience, including the teacher, widened their eyes without exception. Even Principal Fang opened his mouth wide, his expression quite incredulous. It's instantaneous magic. Oh my god, after the 2nd turn of the magician profession, it began to make the low-level magic cast instantaneous. This guy actually did it right now. The most annoying thing is that this bastard is not a magician at all. A teacher who taught a class on magicians roared inwardly. It's obviously part of the playthrough reward. Maybe he's got a new talent. It has to do with magic. This is also something that is very obvious. After all, everyone still vividly remembers the performance of the first layer of Yunshin. Although he is able to cast spells very steadily and quickly while moving, there is a difference between him and instantaneous magic. Before that, he also has to chant and gesture to guide. Today, those steps are gone. Damn, this talent is too important for him as a loose person. All of them are elementary skills, and they are cool. Many magic skills are basically instantaneous by default. After the teacher's explanation, everyone was even more envious. An unemployed man who has mastered hundreds of low-level skills in all professions has now acquired the talent of instantaneous primary magic. It's like a tiger with wings. The most important thing is that magical power is not limited to the mage profession. Many professions also use magic, and summoners are the most typical example. Envy stupid. This jobless person can still spell machine guns. Where can I, a magician, reason? Spell machine gun. The effect that can only be achieved by a second-turn elemental mage actually appeared in a jobless person. Not to mention the students, the teachers are a little envious. It's just envy and envy. Yunshin's talent for achievement is basically out of their reach. The cloud god casts a spell like this, he is not afraid of consuming the amount of blue. Since witnessing the other party create a historical milestone, the first and second year of high school have already unconsciously changed their titles to cloud gods. Seeing that the other party rushed to the second side hall, it was also bombarded indiscriminately, and the fireball laser gun bloomed incomprehensibly. This consumption was very amazing. Even if the unemployed only use primary skills, there is no reason to be so outrageous. It's the of the green fields outfit effect. Xiao Wen said with a complicated look in his eyes. After leaving the battle, directly let the vitality, magic and physical strength quickly recover. Don't look at the green field set as only gold, but it's only produced in the Goblin Dungeon. The ones who can succeed are all big names and surnames in the future. So the market is basically very high, and there is no market. But even so, it shouldn't be able to support him to consume so much. I guess it's back to the blue technique. Didn't he get new skill points? But his intelligence attribute must be very high. The wisdom attribute is related to the cast strength, magic defense, and even the speed of one's own blue return. The head teacher of the rocket class who has been paying attention also scratched his head. Run fast, dodge fast, and agility should not be low. The attack damage is also high, and the strength attribute is also good. The physique is also visibly high, at least until now. I haven't kicked my breath. Now the wisdom is not weak, this guy is really an accidental bug. However, it is also possible that the attribute bonus given to him by 2 pieces of gold equipment is too high. In addition, the hidden level is not considered the content of the college entrance examination, and the answer sheet belonging to Yunshin has already been handed in, so no one cares about the use of such illegal and prohibited high-quality equipment here. Seeing his proud protégé's distraught appearance, he still patted the other party's shoulder and comforted, your future life may not be worse than his. After all, the road of scattered people is too difficult to walk. There are obvious advantages, but also huge disadvantages. If it's really so powerful, why hasn't there been a big name over the years? He's now lost almost 3 free attribute points and skill points every time he has risen to the next level. If this Yunshin is obsessed and doesn't change jobs quickly, he will inevitably lose more. After the second turn and the third turn, this gap will open up even more. Teacher. The way to get free attribute points and skill points is not limited to leveling. If this guy can get SSS level evaluation every time he clears other dungeons, it's not to make up for his shortcomings. Xiao Wen seemed a little self-pitying. The number 1 seed is facing a re-examination, and his mentality has somewhat collapsed. Hearing this, the head teacher of the first class didn't know how to comfort him. Each dungeon has a different class target, and some dungeon monsters have a high degree of magic resistance, and most mages stay away. Can it be? Unemployed people can place all kinds of copies without any scruples. In this way, Yunshin, a seemingly omnipotent combat all-rounder, is afraid that he will really sweep the major dungeons in the future. The biggest attribute shortcoming, shouldn't it really smooth him out? And the so-called second underground floor in front of me didn't see any challenging monsters at all. The number of goblins is indeed large, but for some reason they are extremely fragile, and they will shatter when they touch in front of Yunshin. The title, Goblin Slayer, works awesomely. It's no secret that this title is, in fact, anyone who evaluates SS or above can get this title. Over the years, it has long been known that some outstanding people have naturally succeeded. It's garbage time, nothing to see anymore. The clearance speed of the spell machine gun is indeed very fast, but it is indeed too tiring to watch too much. Compared with this kind of indiscriminate bombardment, everyone also wants to see the details of the challenge boss, rather than blindly crushing bulldozing. At this time, many students from Dongyun High School also successfully cleared the customs and walked out of the dungeon. Except for the rocket class, most people choose the normal difficulty, or even choose to form a team, and they can still survive to the end after several twists and turns. Even some high-achieving students who placed copies alone also successfully cleared the customs S-level evaluation. It should be enough to break the main line. There is naturally a gap between ordinary universities and top 7 universities. However, from the very beginning, everyone knew that few people in Dongyun High School might succeed in entering the top 7 colleges, so there was not much personal dissatisfaction. Of course, for high school juniors who report in the same class. What surprised them the most was, there's a good chance that a champion will be around them. It's not the twin brothers, it's Yunshin of the 3rd class. No job and no. This guy relied on scattered people to kill the whole audience, and I heard that the most difficult boss in the last level has not yet released his skills, so he was killed in a few seconds. Everyone was stunned and couldn't believe it. Brother Yun, he really chose the of Sanren. Lei Yun, who also belongs to the 3rd class, is the front row classmate of the other party, and he has always known that the other party is still hesitant to choose what career because of his talent. During the self-study class yesterday, he even specifically asked, but he was only told, "You'll find out tomorrow." Scattered people. That's his answer. Thousands of teachers and students throughout the scene were discussing everything about Yunshin. Lei Yun shook his head with a wry smile. This way of finally learning about the other party's career choice was indeed a bit shocking and special. His appearance, his performance in the arena, even made the leaders of the Provincial Education Bureau come to this small place. Yunshin should fly more now. The news that Yunshin students from the 3rd key class were likely to win the top prize spread throughout the school. Now, don't say it's a senior high school candidate who has just walked out of the copy. Even the parents who were waiting outside heard that there were candidates inside who had to be qualified to hit the top prize. Some rejoiced, some sorrowed. The examination room of the 3rd year of high school is not warm and peaceful, but it is full of dangers. The bones of at least 30 people were buried forever in the dungeon. 9 out of 10 are. I also accidentally triggered a hidden level that I hadn't discovered before, and I felt like I was the first person, and there couldn't be anyone better than him. And this hidden level is not as difficult as expected. Of course. Or maybe the unemployed man was too outrageous, and a goblin centurion was crushed to death by him with a fireball. He's gotten a lot stronger. The improvement of equipment is too important. Otherwise, the dungeon would not specifically limit the quality of equipment, and pull everyone almost to the same running line. But even so, there are many wealthy families who can afford to use the best bronze equipment. After receiving the customs clearance reward, comparing the 2 layers before and after, it intuitively makes people feel that Yunshin has become stronger. The rest is naturally garbage time. Surprisingly, the invigilator didn't even cut the screen, and everyone in the audience didn't leave, waiting enthusiastically for the unemployed person to walk out of the copy. Less than 20 minutes. After clearing a large number of Yunshin, he has already begun to receive the rewards for clearing the hidden levels. Another item from the Greenfield suit. His body flashed with golden light, and he upgraded again. Oh my god, this copy made him take off in an instant, which is a total of several levels. Not to mention, this extra layer is estimated to have new free attribute points and skill point rewards, which are what the scattered people need the most. It's a bonus, it's another layer of reward. There was also a lot of discussion in the audience, which was very envious. But it seems to realize something. Everyone slowly stood up from their seats, their eyes full of anticipation and admiration, and looked at the bronze gate in the center. After receiving the reward, it's time for him to come out. As if in response to everyone's expectations, in front of the bronze gate, a figure that attracted much attention was teleported. The figure is slender and tall, and the physique wearing light armor does not look bloated at all, but is wise and martial. A handsome face with sharp edges is a little cold, and there is a kind of indifference that is not close to people. Combined with his deadly and aggressive shots, there is indeed a feeling of a ruthless killer. At this moment, the overwhelming applause swept in front of him like a wave, welcoming his return. Cloud God. You're amazing, you're so cool. The jumble of cheers was so mixed that it was hard to even hear what was being said in each sentence. As soon as Yunshin came out, he faced the infinite carnival of everyone, and he was a little dazed. The most outrageous thing is that Principal Fang, who has always been moody in his eyes, actually trotted over, grabbed his hand, and frantically praised himself. Come on, let's look at the camera together. This Principal Fang also made preparations in advance, and asked the cameraman to take several photos with a big guy. Jin Sheng is stunned. Come over and... Principal Fang smiled, and he only felt that the happiest moment in his life was today. Yunshin, the results of the college entrance examination will be released in 3 days at the earliest, and 7 days at the latest. You can go home with confidence and bring the good news back. After greeting for half a moment, Principal Fang also knew that he was verbose and immediately stopped bothering. As soon as the news arrives, we will inform you immediately, so let's rest and play well in the past few days, and don't put too much burden on my heart. Come. Get out of the way, driver, quick, take him home personally. The college entrance examination belonging to Yunshin has since ended. Of course, for some of the dropouts from Shinonome High School, it's still not over. The combat profession can't pass the test. Either wait until next year to repeat your studies, or give up, change careers, or pursue a liberal arts-related career. There are other assessment criteria for these correspondings, and the corresponding exam content will be made available in the next few days. Yunshin is a child who grew up natively in Dongyun City. His house is not large, 70 square meters, 1 living room and 2 bedrooms. It's just that when he returned home, he was the only one. In fact, his parents died very young. My father fell on the front line during the invasion of the Orc Court more than 10 years ago. S mother raised Yunshin and her sister Yuntang by herself, and died of heart disease a few years ago. The reason why my sister is not there is because she is still in class in the 2nd year of junior high school. To be honest, in the past few years, he and his sister have relied on each other, and their lives have been very frugal. The children of poor families are in charge of the family at an early age. A few years ago, in order not to delay her practice of combat skills, my sister stepped on a small bench and stood in front of the kitchen counter to wash her rice bowls. In the 3rd year of high school, Yun Tang, who was terrifyingly sensible, even took over the obligation of cooking. In order to save money, the two didn't waste money ordering takeout. No matter how insistent she was unwilling to leave her life affairs to herself. Facing her stubborn sister, Yunshin remembered in her heart that she could only repay her heart if she worked hard and worked 10,000 times harder. And from today, everything will be different. Yunshin, who was lying on the sofa at home, was alone. The curtains kept being closed, and the environment was very dim. Perhaps this lonely environment made him think a lot. If it weren't for the support of compulsory education, Yunshin would not even be able to learn the elementary skills of so many occupations. Even the equipment he brought with him was all old antiques left by his father in the past. The ammunition and guns were all bought from the market by gritting his teeth with the only savings he had left. In addition, Yunshin was also very satisfied with his talent. It's an innate instinct to fight, and it's quick to pick up and master weapons, and it's a mastery of timing for battle. Of course, the biggest regret is to say, it may be that his awakening talent is a little embarrassing, and he can raise all his skills to 2 qualities, but he can only reach the C level. It was also for this reason that he missed the rocket class. In their eyes, this talent is wasted. They can't go far, and they can't lift their later professional skills at all. No matter how much you cultivate, it's useless. This made Yunshin a little shocked at that time. At the same time, it also gave birth to the idea that if he didn't change jobs, he would have no job and be scattered. Raise all primary skills by 2 qualities, combined with his innate fighting instincts. Isn't that a match made in heaven? Flawless? It's just that. With so many innate advantage conditions, Yunshin doesn't have much confidence, because not changing jobs means that the more free attribute points and skill points are upgraded, the more he loses. It's all a cliché. The turning point of everything, the key to making his belief completely firm, is the emergence of the golden finger. After so many years, he even forgot about this matter for a while, and he had long since expected that the common system in novels would appear on him. The content of this activated system is also very simple, helping you to become the best in the world in the class of your choice. Please choose your career plan. Yunshin still remembers that he swallowed his saliva at that time. After hearing the system's words, his first thought was not magic swordsman, magician, warrior, and other professions, but jobless and scattered. Scattered people are counted as occupations. That's just the name given to players who don't change jobs in online games in the past. Will the system approve of this answer? With the mood of not giving it a try, the nervous Yunshin has already taken the unemployed person as his reply. Unexpectedly, the system recognized it. After that, his daily quests are all generous rewards for choosing between free attribute points, skill points, and skill books. The biggest shortcoming of Sanren is made up for at once, and even makes the four-dimensional attribute his own big advantage. After all, the other professions are less than 10 free attribute points when they are upgraded to one level, and he can receive them every day if he is willing. In addition, the system will issue tasks as your own career plan. The first task remains unfinished. That's become a system reward that determines your own correspondence through the ranking of college entrance examination results. The system is produced and must be a high-quality product. He only wants the reward of top 1, so this time he is bound to win the champion of Jiangnan province. Wait for. We have to continue to wait for the rankings to be released. Phew. Yunshin breathed a sigh of relief. He got up from the sofa, opened the curtains, turned on the light, and walked to the kitchen. Before returning in the principal's driver's car, he also asked the other party to go to the market by the way. The college entrance examination is over, and I can't let my sister cook. 5 days passed. Yunshin, who lives at home, is still very self-disciplined. Every day, I started 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and ran 10 kilometers along the river. Daily missions are a must-do. In most cases, he chooses 10 free attribute points and assigns them to the four-dimensional attributes in a 3-3-2-2 manner. Balanced development go hand in hand. Skill points are also very important. For example, in order to reach Fireball LV8, he needs 16 skill points. At present, it is not cost-effective, and it is better to upgrade other primary skills. In addition, high-quality vocational skills cost more skill points, and it may cost 16 skill points to upgrade to LV2. For Yunshin, he wants to save some skill points, and when he reaches college, he will be able to acquire more general skills and primary skills in various professions. After all, Dongyun High School is too small and has limited resources. TOP 7 universities, each of which has a wider variety of skill books, and even holds a lot of hidden career transfer paths, even unpopular career transfer books. These resources are not circulated at all. For this reason, the year before last, some media bombarded the top 7 colleges and universities as learning valves. In this regard, the spokesperson of the school sneered and invited these media people to the heroes' monument of the college to drink tea. Looking at the heroes from the school on the monument, all the media people were silent and silent. Much like in previous lives, better school qualifications mean better resource status. 5 days have passed, and there has been no news. Principal Fang personally said that there would be news in 3 days at the earliest, and news in 7 days at the latest, but it was only the 5th day, and the principal had called Yunshin many times to ask him to relax and not worry. Actually, Yunshin itself is fine, but he obviously felt that this Principal Fang was obviously more anxious than him. But it was on the morning of the 6th day. Yunshin, who went out for a morning run early in the morning, immediately found his sister waiting for him at the entrance of the community when he came back. The young and lively sister waved frantically to herself at the door, and her innocent and lovely white face was full of indescribable excitement. "Brother." After jumping on the spot, my sister couldn't hold it anymore, so she pulled up her legs and ran over. Like a bird's nest, a jumper jumped directly into Yunshin's arms. Yun Tang grabbed Yun Chen's shoulders excitedly and shouted ecstatically, "Brother! You are the first place in Jiangnan province, and the champion is your." Jiangnan province released the list this morning. First place, no doubt, it is Yunshin from Shinonome City. Yunshin, who went out for a morning run, didn't bring his mobile phone. My sister Yuntang happened to be at home, and when she saw that her brother's mobile phone was blown up, she immediately realized something. When I really learned from my brother's head teacher Jin Sheng that the champion belonged to him, he was even more excited. Generally, at this point in time, it was almost morning to run home. Yuntang didn't wait at home, and ran directly to the door of the community, and just wanted to run to the runway along the river, but he saw Yunshin's figure. "Brother! You're the champion." Yun Tang was like riding on Yun Shen, announcing to him the best news in the world. And at this time, the system has also started to sell the rewards. The results of the college entrance examination have been detected. You have completed this task. Congratulations on winning the first place in Jiangnan province in this college entrance examination. Task rewards will be matched according to your first place score. Dongyun City produced a champion, and the news spread throughout the city at once. God pity you. Since 70 years, they have been a key high school in Dongyun City, and the best school history record is still the 8th in the province. This year, it was really the Lord of the Sky who opened his eyes, and he actually made a provincial champion in this small place. The gate of Shinonome High School was crowded with many people at once, all of them were media and reporters. The college entrance examination is over, but the courses for the first and second year of high school are still not over. In order to catch up with the manuscript, some media well-wishers also politely called a few students to do interviews and asked them to talk about their impressions of the top students in the college entrance examination. Do you want me to describe the impression of the cloud god specifically? How to say it? His temperament reveals a 3 points self-confidence, 3 points pride, and 7 points carelessness. After listening to this, the reporter was a little confused. Isn't that 13 points? Well, there are still 87 points for Lengao and Handsome, just enough for 100 points. Taking advantage of the large number of students, the reporter quickly asked around. Cold and handsome is indeed everyone's consensus. It seems that this guy is indeed very handsome, and the reporter understands it and has quickly recorded it. Moreover, he also captured a key title, Cloud God. Every junior who watched the exam could be said to worship this Yunshin, and their admiration was overflowing, from the bottom of their hearts, and they couldn't wait to praise each other with the praise words they knew all their lives. The most important thing is that he also learned that the other party was actually proud of Jiangnan province as an unemployed person. Hiss. This discovery made him a treasure. Although the reporter himself is not a combat profession and has no experience in killing monsters, he knows how to use news to provoke everyone's nerves and detonate everyone's emotions. Yunshin. Go your own way, so that others have no way to go. The cloud god who created the path of scattered people by himself has no ancients before and no one after him. Shocked. The proud son of Dongyun Tian actually crushed the genius of the whole province as a jobless person. This is the only thing that the student of Dongyun did, making him the top student in the college entrance examination. Scattered people are the tipping point of the news. The reading volume is absolutely explosive. At this moment alone, the reporters of Dongyun News have already drafted a number of headlines in their minds, and sent the first draft to the editorial department, so as to seize the opportunity to publish the article first. In the principal's office, a TV reporter with a cameraman had already conducted an in-depth interview. Principal Fang was dressed in a formal suit, his face was amiable, and in his office, he even hung a photo of him in Yunshin, the top student in the college entrance examination. The story between me and Yunshin starts from 3 years ago. After 10 minutes of storytelling, the principal finally said that he would reward Yunshin with a big gift on behalf of all the people of Dongyun School and the Alumni Association. It is basically an old tradition to reward the top students in the college entrance examination in this province. The Jiangnan Provincial Education Bureau sent a congratulatory telegram to Yunshin students, giving 1,000 W in cash to Yunshin students, and a A-level skill book and A-level natural treasures. Dongyun City also sent a congratulatory telegram one after another, giving 200 W cash to Yunshin, and a set of luxury villas and B-level natural treasures in the city. After the official statement, Dongyun's local enterprises naturally couldn't sit still. What are you kidding? The famous champion of the college entrance examination, the future is limitless, the status of the combat profession is very high, and it is necessary to have a good relationship. In addition, the basic change of direction for enterprises to give big gifts to the top students in the college entrance examination is advertising. Everyone knows it. Major companies have started to brush their faces in the media. Without exception, they have expressed their desire to reward the only champion in Dongyun City so far. The city's alchemy workshop said that it would send a set of enchanted equipment. The summon breeding base said that it would send the best contract summon to Yunshin. Tens of billions of real estate companies have said they want to give away the best houses in their area. The car company said that it would send luxury cars and cash to Yunshin. It's just that these awards are not cared about by the current Yunshin. When he returned home, the only thing he valued more was the rewards from the strongest class support system. Ding! Combined with your status as a jobless person, you will now be rewarded with matching tasks. Congratulations on your promotion of the awakening talent, Almighty, B, to Almighty, A+. All around, A+, all skills and talents can gain up to 3 quality jumps, up to B+. Congratulations on obtaining the God level skill, Divine Flash, S. Congratulations on obtaining the S rank artifact, Ankh of Rebirth. Congratulations on acquiring your new talent, Transcendent Self-Healing, S+. Congratulations on earning 50 free attribute points. Congratulations on earning 50 skill points. The moment the reward comes out, Yunshin looked straight at it directly. Abundant. Not an ordinary abundance. In comparison, even the free attribute points and skill points of 50 points each are insignificant. The most important thing is that the awakening talent that maintained the foundation of the entire unemployed scattered people was also successfully promoted. Up to 3 quality jump, and this time it still includes skills and talents. Although he hasn't benefited from his talent at the moment, there are also a lot of E-rank talent potions on the market. This undoubtedly also provides a lot of ideas for his offensive method of scattering people without a job. No matter how you look at it, the awakening talent, omnipotence, is the foundation of his maintenance of the jobless and scattered. At the moment, he doesn't have too many primary skills in various professions. When it comes to Dacheng, when you really master hundreds of primary skills of all professions, it is not powerful in the general sense. Fireball was originally an F spell, but now it has been raised to B+. The most intuitive feeling is that the blazing fiery red fireworks have transformed into a lilac luster. This is a very conspicuous qualitative change, and while the temperature of condensation is getting higher and higher, a new effect is also born, that is, after successfully burning the opponent's body, it will also give birth to a soul-burning spiritual pain effect. Expected. Yunshin sighed. When skill points increase the level of a single skill, such as raising fireball technique LV7 to LV8, it will not produce any qualitative changes, only quantitative changes. Only the original magic damage has been increased. In other words, when the skill level is increased, it will only be increased in the original attribute entry. Increased damage from 20% to 25%. Increased splash damage from 35% to 45%, etc. And Yunshin's awakening talent, omnipotence, can now basically change all the primary skills he has mastered, transforming them into B or B+. Long before that, the transformation of the ordinary Win/F+ into the Win/C+ brought about a new change. That is, when the target enemy of the rush is successfully killed, the cooldown will be refreshed, allowing you to constantly rush forward. If it weren't for this move, Yunshin wouldn't have achieved more than 10 consecutive kills so smoothly and silkily, and quickly passed the first level of the dungeon. And now, after the Win/F+ has been upgraded to Win/B+, a new qualitative change has begun. The wind flock that lingers around the body has become much stronger, forming a wind wedding dress effect, which can have a certain probability of hitting the body. Through the qualitative changes in the previous 2 skills, it can be seen that the other skills mastered have also undergone a lot of changes. The tentacles of the druid class are entangled, producing a weak stamina absorption effect. The light technique has a bit of a mental concussion effect. The warrior class's floating combo has a certain chance of generating split damage. Charge, assault, strengthened the effect of hegemony, and it is difficult to be interrupted in the process. The sharpshooter's ardent pursuit adds a weak lifesteal effect. The assassin's doppelganger, backstab, and stealth techniques have all undergone significant changes. The others are the same, so I won't repeat them one by one. The most critical point is that with the qualitative improvement, it does not affect the amount of blue consumed, and it is still a small consumption of the primary skill standard. Thinking of this, Yunshin thought that his golden finger might be able to continue to improve his awakening talent. At that time, he was another wave of rapid transformation. After taking stock of the awakening talent, Yunshin's gaze continued to look at the other rewards. Good stuff. The S-class artifact, Ankh of Rebirth, can give you another life. When you die, you will automatically consume the Ankh and choose a safe spot to respawn. This can be said to give myself a second life. Although this world is a game that comes to reality, everyone is alive, and it is not like a game that does not care whether to die or not. Divine Flash, S. A god-level secret technique, enough to travel through space, providing ultra-long-range flashes. The introduction is simple. Can you even walk through space with a super long-distance flash? And it's also a secret art, and there are no class restrictions at all. In addition, Yunshin had never heard of such a secret art title. Is the arcane art another system in addition to skills? Or a proper noun defined by the system? But, with his current vision, he naturally can't touch the S level, and even the A-level skills are all treasures that the Academy has put on the shelf. Now that he has obtained an S-level divine technique, it is enough to make him very excited. There is one more means of saving life. Find another training ground another day to test the effect of the divine flash. Shen Flash, it can be said that it has become the most powerful skill on Yunshin's hands. And it can achieve the effect of walking through the space, which is undoubtedly very useful. After all, judging from the information he had, the current spatial structure of this Earth is not stable, there are many spatial rifts, and different space connections occur from time to time. The Ghost City tragedy, 20 years ago, was that it was impossible to deal with this spatial rift that tore the sky above the city in time, so that the orc army broke into the human home from the rift unscrupulously. If you can get your hands on some space secret techniques, it will also be an extra security guarantee. Finally, there is also an S+ talent that is given by the system. Transcendent Self-Healing, S+. Your cells are endowed with a majestic life force, which is enough to exempt you from most fatal injuries. Good Fellow, another life-saving talent. This system seems to be a little afraid that something will happen to the temporarily weak self in this world, and it simply stuffs life-saving skills and talents into its mouth one after another. It is unclear whether the effect of living bones and living dead can be achieved, and it remains to be verified. However, the rebirth of the severed limb should be guaranteed. He had heard that the second turn of the pastor would basically be able to heal the physical disability. S+, a talent that is a big step higher than S, and rebirth of severed limbs is the minimum. As for whether the effect of blood rebirth is achieved, Yunshin naturally will not try his body, anyway, with the divine artifact, Rebirth Ankh. It can be regarded as protecting himself to the extreme inside and out. Not bad. Yunshin was satisfied. This wave of top 1 champion rewards is still very powerful. The system is indeed a high-quality product, and at this time, the mobile phone on the bedroom table was still vibrating, from the head teacher Jin Sheng, classmates, the principal and others, and even many strange calls were still desperately calling. In the face of the congratulations of the teacher and classmates, he simply replied with a message. As for those strange calls that I didn't know how to get his contact information, I just didn't pay attention to any of them. In addition to congratulating, the head teacher Jin Sheng also specially told him to come to the school in the afternoon, and people from the admissions offices of major colleges and universities would arrive. After the first phone call could not be reached, Principal Fang also informed Yunshin by text message that he had sent a driver over. Yunshin raised his eyebrows slightly. The admissions office came, and it was very fast. But it's understandable. For the top student in the college entrance examination, the university's admissions office teacher naturally rushed to the first time without delay, in order to take the first step to grab people. It's fine. It's also time to decide on your own school. The college entrance examination is filled in after the results are released, so there is no need to rush to choose any university before that. According to the university rankings, Yunshin's choice will inevitably be in 7 universities. That is, the top 7 colleges and universities with the strongest faculty are selected. When Yunshin finished comprehensively sorting out the system rewards, he also walked out of the bedroom. Brother, there are many reporters and onlookers outside the community, and the security guards are so dangerous that they can't give in, otherwise the threshold of our house will be trampled on. Sister Yuntang said with some dissatisfaction. She also raised her mobile phone, and said even more dissatisfied, I don't know where all the distant relatives from have called. It's too real. The poor in the downtown no one asks, and the rich have distant relatives in the mountains. Since the death of their parents, there is only one relative who has helped them, and there is basically no contact with the others, so they have completely taken off the hook. Ignore them. Yunshin said. My sister naturally understands that these distant relatives who are very estranged from each other are really utilitarian and unlikable. Of course, there are still a lot of happy things. Brother, our family has money. Jiangnan province sent 1000 W, and our city sent 200 W. 1200 W is enough for us to eat and drink in Dongyun City for a lifetime. Not to mention that there are a lot of cultivation resources, the A-level skill book given by the province, the A-level heavenly material and earth treasure, and the city gave the B-level heavenly material and earth treasure, but it also gave us a set of luxury courtyards. Another. The major enterprises in Dongyun City have expressed their intention to send us a lot of things. Yuntang is like a treasure. Perhaps she was used to living a poor life, but she was very happy about it, and a sweet smile appeared on her beautiful and delicate face, and she couldn't stop laughing. Of course, there are also reasons why I am happy that my brother is too good. However, she quickly restrained her smile and said very seriously, "Brother, we don't want the things sent by these companies. The champion reward sent by the state is naturally reassuring, and there are champions in every session. Yuntang reads a lot of books, so he naturally knows that there is no benefit gift for no reason, and he is short of people, and the next time someone comes to you for help, you will be embarrassed to refuse." Of course. Yunshin smiled and nodded. "What are you laughing at?" "Laughing at your young age, you know a lot of truth." In addition to her younger sister Yuntang's youth and cuteness, she also has a stability that her peers do not have. This made Yunshin very pleased. The two chatted for a while, and Yuntang had already swiped his mobile phone on the sofa and kept watching the news about his brother. "Brother, this news is so exaggerated, opening up a new path no one has ever come before. And this. The proud son of Dongyun Tian actually crushed the genius of the province as an unemployed person. Dongyun students only did this one thing, and let him become the top student in the college entrance examination. It's okay in the morning. After completing the daily tasks and receiving the reward, Yunshin, who had finished lunch, had already received a notice that Principal Fang's driver was already waiting for him in the parking lot of the community Shinonome High School. Teachers from the admissions offices of major colleges and universities have come to the conference room one after another. This is basically the admissions staff of the top 7 universities. Truth be told, in all these years, the admissions offices of these top universities have never visited such a small place. In this regard, President Fang was also very cautious in his reception. Though what he didn't expect was that the admissions office of Qingyun University, one of the top 7 universities, was absent. "What's going on? I don't know, they don't seem to have any intention of coming to Dongyun at all. Anyway, they have been in the Jiangnan provincial capital, and we are embarrassed to ask. Previous champions, which one was not robbed by people, the top colleges and universities all riveted their strength and gave enough gifts to attract the champions. In recent years, there have even been those who play the family card, and the relatives and family members of the champion are assigned positions. Who would have thought that the top student of the Jiangnan Provincial College entrance examination would be snubbed by a TOP7 college? Don't come." What was even more unexpected to President Fang was that the admissions teachers of Kyung University even looked a little unkind. Sure enough. He put down the tea in his hand, raised the mobile phone in his hand coldly and smiled. "I swiped up one of your local news, and created a new path for scattered people, which has never been seen before or since. How dare you blow it? I'm not afraid of offending people, don't say that I bully you little place. Let your school's Yunshin immediately choose a career, no job and scatter people, what bullshit play. If you don't change jobs, we'll leave immediately." As soon as the words fell, the members of the Kyoking Student Union who came with him to run errands on the side couldn't help but echo it. "Teacher, I'm afraid you don't know that there is a word called small town as a problem. It specifically refers to those children from small towns who are good at taking exams and studying hard, although I think this word is pure discrimination and slander, but at this moment, I also think that this Yunshin is too scheming. The dungeon assessment itself is targeted to a certain profession, and this guy still chooses to deal with it alone, and regardless of his future, he gives all his skills to the primary skills of all professions. This kind of cleverness that sacrifices the future just to cope with the college entrance examination has to say that it has indeed succeeded, but it is just a little cleverness. After all, the scattered people are weak in the later stage, and it is not clear that Yunshin, who has a clear conscience, may have changed jobs now. Having said so much, it's not that I look down on you Dongyun High School, I think Yunshin has taken advantage of the loophole in the college entrance examination. This person, don't recruit it, character alone is not worthy. Yunshin, don't recruit it. The people in the admissions office of Qingda actually accused Yunshin of playing tricks and exploiting loopholes in the college entrance examination. The so-called unemployed people are just a trick deliberately made when they are trying to break through the college entrance examination. In essence, they are not moral, and they misbehave. This student even accused and slandered Yunshin with the title of small-town problem solver. Teacher, I think that Yunshin has definitely changed jobs secretly. After all, no matter how stupid he is, he knows that the road of scattered people will not work at all, and the more he upgrades in the future, the more free attribute points and skill points he will lose. But it's hard to return, And all the skill points accumulated before have been given to the primary skills of other professions, and now he's a wasted person. According to the game, it's just a scrap, let's reopen it. But the game can recreate an account, but life can't be reopened. So, this person really doesn't need to be taken care of. I can responsibly say that this is the most watery college entrance examination champion ever. As soon as the student from the admissions office of Qingda became excited, he saw that the teacher did not stop him, and his words became more and more ruthless. This groundless accusation immediately made Yunshin's head teacher, Jin Sheng, look ashamed. Honest people can also get angry. He was furious, and directly stood up and scolded, "Don't talk nonsense, young people. This road is the road that my students must take, so it's not a trick to drill a routine." Dongyun High School is not only Jin Sheng so angry. Principal Fang's face sank, and his face was not good looking. Even the two head teachers of the rocket class were a little unhappy. After all, the disdain and arrogance of this Qingxing college student for small places was simply overflowing, making them very uncomfortable for their natives of Dongnonom. What kind of small town is the questioner? This is too scathing. Qing University student Tian Yenzhou was startled at first under Jin Sheng's cold gaze, and his body couldn't help but take a step back. But when I think of my teacher by my side, what do I have to be afraid of? Otherwise, why don't you think the people from the admissions office of Qingyun University came? It's not that you can see through this champion at a glance. I think this guy is at most a product of the test-taking system. If he goes to the crack in the future and goes to the front line, I'm afraid he will turn around and run directly. Perhaps because of some annoyance, Tian Yenzhou's words became more and more ruthless, and he even took a step forward. The European teacher of the admissions office of Qingda frowned. To be honest, he dislikes his students for talking too much. But he's a calf protector. Seeing that the teacher of Dongyun High School was not good, he almost made a move, and his ruthless eyes looked directly at it. For a while, Jin Sheng and the other teachers suddenly felt like they were facing a great enemy, as if they had been poured a basin of cold water on their heads, and their impulsive bodies were pressed to the same place. Humph. This Qingda teacher has the strength of the second turn LV40 level, and even if the teachers of the entire Shinonome High School start a wheel war, they're not opponents. What's more, this is still a graduate of a famous university, has been on the front line, and has gone through bloody storms. Even if it exists at the same level, I am afraid it is not enough for him to fight with one hand. After all, sometimes the gap between the same level is too big. The four-dimensional attribute alone may be different from each other at the same level. What's more, those who graduated from prestigious universities naturally have more advanced skills than those who graduated from other ordinary universities. Otherwise, it would not be called Shuival, which refers to the top 7 universities. At this moment, even Principal Fang was a little overwhelmed. Although he scolded the Qingxing student to death in his heart, he didn't dare to express his dissatisfaction openly. It's serious, Teacher Ohua, you shouldn't bully the weak with the strong. At this time, the admissions office teacher of Zhang University, who was also waiting in the conference room, was a little displeased. Teacher Li Yage of Jiangnan University in this province raised his eyebrows coldly, and his face was dissatisfied. Dongyun City is a part of Jiangnan province, so they naturally can't sit idly by. It's all misunderstandings, it's all misunderstandings. That Kyungdae student is so unreasonable. Right now, it's all about to clash. Naturally, there are people in the admissions offices of other universities who are here to recruit students, not to fight. And that Qingguo student is indeed a bit cheap, and some of the words do sound a little scolding. Changed to a teacher at Dongyun High School, Tian Yenzhou naturally did not hesitate. But now the teacher of Jiangnan University stood up to support him. He swallowed his saliva, and naturally he didn't dare to say anything more, but it was naturally impossible for him to apologize. And that's when, whoa, the sliding door of the conference room has been opened. A slender and sturdy figure walked in under the leadership of the principal's secretary. This person is obviously Yunshin. He didn't know that he had just been caught in the middle of a storm of discussions, and he didn't know that a student from a prestigious university had criticized him. But even the most stupid person knows that something is wrong with the atmosphere in this conference room. Jin Sheng, the head teacher who has always been gentle and honest, looked angry, obviously because he was seriously angry by something. Yunshin, you're here. Let me introduce you to you. This is of the major universities. Jin Sheng restrained his emotions and immediately stepped forward to greet him. Not long after he said it, Yunshin interrupted his teacher's words. What just happened? Yunshin's angular face has always been indifferent, and it is rare to see a little change in mood from it. It's obviously a plain sentence, but for some reason, it makes people feel empowered. A person's temperament is more or less related to his experience. Being a person in two lives, especially in the previous life, Yunshin was cold and arrogant, but he also revealed a sense of stability. Just the casual words give birth to an unquestionable force that makes people take it seriously. This. Jin Sheng opened his mouth, but he didn't know where to start in the face of his proud student's questioning. But he didn't want to say it, and some people were willing to say it. It's just that I had an argument with your teacher, and by the way, the quarrel was about whether you exploited loopholes in the college entrance examination and involved cheating. As soon as I mentioned that you may be the best college entrance examination champion in the past, you are always anxious. At this time, the Europeanized students of Kyunggi University directly took over the conversation. He was afraid of the teachers of Zhongnan University and didn't dare to be tough, but he was a small student of Dongyun High School, and he naturally had no fear. Who are you? Yunshin's gaze passed. Sophomore year next semester, Kyungin University. Europeanization responds directly. After saying that, he frowned, because he didn't really like this person's eyes. The other party's eyes and temperament always made him think that he was the pride of the sky in the school. Kyungyo College students who are about to become sophomores? That's. Now I, the champion of the college entrance examination in the past, will challenge you. If you don't beat you within 5 moves, I will lose. If you can't beat you within 5 moves, count me as losing. As soon as Yunshin's words fell, Tian Yenjo in front of him suddenly burst out laughing. Wait. What did you say? You're going to challenge me? It's a ridiculous. Perhaps feeling extremely ridiculous, this Tian Yenjo couldn't help but laugh wildly. I'm going to take on this challenge. If you don't win within 5 moves, you're arrogant, it's just too arrogant. Tian Yenjo seemed to be afraid that the other party would regret it, so he turned to look at the teacher at his school. Teacher, you heard me too. Everyone, you have heard it. It was this guy who challenged me. Teachers, you should be fine. A junior challenged me to be a college student, and he beat me within 5 moves. If I refuse, let's not say where my face is going and spread out, won't the whole Kyungdi be reduced to a joke? Indeed, this is the truth. The challenge launched by this top student in the college entrance examination is outrageous. No matter how poor Tian Yenjo is, he is also a genuine student of Qing University. He will be a sophomore next semester, and now his strength is already level 19. As you level up, you need more and more experience, but it's not as easy to level up as before. Now, no matter how you look at it, this college entrance examination champion has been crushed by at least 5 or 6 levels, and the free attribute points in it alone are immeasurable. Of course, if Tian Yenjo is an ordinary student of 3 colleges, he may be far inferior to this college entrance examination champion. It's right to take it. Yu Yunshin is not allowed to regret. In the seat, the old god-determined teacher Ohua directly made an assertion that there was no repentance. It's a bit too big. After all, this is a student who has experienced a full year of systematic training at Qingda. The admissions teacher on the side shook his head a little silently. However, at this moment, they did not stop it. After all, this is a challenge initiated by Yunshin himself, and everyone has come up with the name of defending Qingda's reputation, and they can't help if they cause trouble. In addition, they also wanted to see the battle of the unemployed scattered people for themselves and test the quality. Yunshin, this. The head teacher, Jin Sheng, was a little teary-eyed. He didn't know that this was his student standing up for himself. But wouldn't it be a little too presumptuous? Get off the arena, now. Tian Yenjo saw that the high school teacher opposite had a difficult face, and suddenly sneered in his heart. This kid is really brave and impulsive to challenge himself. Forget it, don't go down to the arena, just the conference room. The environment is a little smaller, but isn't the battle also a test of everyone's control of the environment? High schools, and even colleges and universities, will open up arena areas. The 1v1 individual challenge tests individual strength. The 5v5 team challenge is a test of professional balance, understanding, teamwork, and a grasp of battlefield tactics. Now, Tian Yenjo is troublesome, and he is too lazy to let so many people run to the arena of the high school together, so he is directly in this conference room, challenging under the gaze of teachers from major colleges and universities. Why don't you help clear an area? Tian Yenjo sneered. But what made him unhappy was that the top student in front of him was still indifferent and arrogant. It seems that everything he has caused in front of him is insignificant to him. Damn it, I'm going to look good for you later, go and help. Principal Fang spoke at this time. Right now, Yunshin can't get off the stage, and Principal Fang can only pray that Yunshin can surprise him again. Soon, tables and chairs have been pushed out of half of the conference room. Two figures stood in front of him in the open space. One is slender and strong, and the other is as thin as a bamboo pole. It was Yunshin and Tian Yenjo. Interestingly, both are armed with scepters. One is a controversial unemployed man, and the other is a serious magician. In the other half of the conference room, the teachers of the admissions offices of major colleges and universities, as well as the principals and teachers of Dongyun High School, all sat on the other side and watched. Compared with the former, the teachers of Dongyun are not so relaxed, but rather worried, for fear that the other party will be too heavy. He will do. On the contrary, Jin Sheng was inexplicably calm at this moment. As Yunshin's head teacher, when he calmed down, he could feel a sense of calmness and confidence from the other party. That's not hubris. It's a sense of indifference from the inside out. Confident and steady. Under the infection of this emotion, Jin Sheng believed that Yunshin would definitely defeat the other party within 5 moves. 3 seconds later. You can do it. This is not an arena, so naturally there are people who stand up and act as referees. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. The voice fell. Yun Shen and Tian Yenjo, who were standing opposite each other on both sides, raised their spell scepters at the same time. The head of the wand unleashed a surging wave of magical power. It is worth mentioning that mages are not allowed to generate magic shields in advance until the arena starts. Therefore, for many magicians, the first moment of the opening is basically to open the shield. Though the two of them didn't choose to start passively, but both used their attack magic at the moment of their shot. Tian Yenjo's face was full of sneers. He tried his best to kill in one hit, and under the guidance of gestures, he actually chose a powerful tracking magic that automatically sought the enemy. And this magic is also the most proficient in him, and if he uses it extraordinarily, the total chant time can even be reduced to 0.6 seconds. At this moment, he only felt that his condition was better than ever. Not true. At this moment when the sense of danger first rose, Tian Yenjo immediately felt a huge force suddenly coming from the ground under his feet. Bang! At this moment, in less than half a second, his spell casting was forcibly interrupted because his body was completely unbalanced. A tracking spell that was close to supernormal play was interrupted abruptly. And Tian Yenjo's body was also swept up in the air by the roots of plants frantically surging from the ground at the soles of his feet. Buzz! At this time, a spell barrier had automatically formed around his body, which was obviously some kind of magic equipment, which automatically generated protection the moment he was attacked. Damn! Tian Yenjo's complexion changed greatly. Impossible. The speed at which the other party cast the magic just now was even faster than his own. What made him even more desperate was that a blazing heat had already hit his face. I saw one purple fireball after another falling in front of him at an instantaneous speed. No, under a desperate cry, Tian Yenjo could only stare dryly because his hands were bound, watching the purple-red fireworks completely explode around him. Boom! The fireballs, which had successfully transformed from fiery red to purple, landed one after another on the figure bound by the roots. No! Under the words of pain and disbelief, Tian Yenjo's body was completely engulfed by the fireworks. The surging purple fireball shattered the opponent's protective barrier with just one shot, and the afterglow even made his skin bloom. As for the second fireball that followed, it was also instantaneous. In the case that the other party could not avoid it, it completely fell into his body. Boom! The light armor he was wearing was completely shattered directly under the bombardment of spells. Soon, his defenseless body directly took the blow of the purple-red fireball. Bang! A large bloody hole appeared in front of him. The entire vine that wrapped around the body had already been engulfed by the flames. Without any restraint, the huge momentum of the impact caused the figure to fly directly, shattering the window of the conference room behind it and falling to the floor 6 meters away. Poor Tian Yenjo's whole body was scorched by the flames, and the purple fireworks that had not been extinguished were still dotting his body. What's even more terrifying is that Tian Yenjo, who was rolling on the ground, also hugged his head frantically, screaming in pain. This is because the purple fireworks that have successfully transformed have the attribute of spiritual burning, so that Tian Yenjo, who has eaten this blow, is suffering from mental torture. This is the end of a 1 version 1 challenge. It may take less than 2 seconds to determine the winner. Yunshin on the side did not move, and the opponent on the other side, Tian Yenjo, didn't look like a figure at all. It seems that I still talk too much. 3 moves, only 3 moves, even more vulnerable than I expected. Yunshin said coldly. His slightly raised scepter was retracted.
Good, good, take it, good boy, I really didn't misread your.
And at the moment, the teachers of Dongyun High School only felt that they were raising their eyebrows, especially Jin Sheng was very excited. On the other side, they were completely in disbelief. This. According to the vision of these admissions teachers, they naturally don't look down on a 1v1 battle of low-level personnel. In advance estimates, no one would think that Yunshin would win, and they just hoped that he would play a jobless demeanor. But now, this top student in the college entrance examination gave a perfect performance, crushing the 19th level magician from Qingda at once. This is somewhat surprising. If it weren't for the large space in the conference room, he would probably have blown off the entire ceiling with 2 or 3 instantaneous spells. Of course, a piece of the floor in front of him has been completely destroyed by the roots that have tumbled out of the dirt. Instant magic, faster than magician, and the color of the fireball technique has turned purple, and the power is not bad, and it is obviously out of the category of primary skills, and it is estimated to be B level. That's not right. Even the strength of the roots is higher than expected. None of them are right. Doesn't the resume information only give the awakening talent that can be promoted to the C level at most? The level of vision of the admissions teachers is naturally very high. Yunshin's resume information is 1 copy for each person. It has its extraordinary control of combat skills, and it also has very detailed information about the omnipotence of its awakening talent. But it is the latter that makes these teachers haunted. A skill can only be upgraded to C-level magic at most, which is basically useless in the later stage. To be precise, it basically doesn't reflect much value when it comes to the second turn. But now, this awakening talent that made them feel a little bit bad turned out to be obviously different from the facts in front of them. The strength of the tentacles is somewhat beyond the standard. The most obvious is the fireball technique. The color of the flames has completely changed, and the tone of the main body has changed to purple. 5 days ago, the exam room was still red. Could it be? It's talent evolution. Yunshin, your awakening talent has actually evolved. The head teacher, Jin Sheng, was extremely happy at this moment, and his whole face was filled with different emotions. It's like seeing a little life cocooned by a silkworm finally break free and become a butterfly. His awakening talent has evolved. Although it is not without precedent and relatively rare, if it is his awakening talent that can produce mutations and evolution, then it can make his jobless scattered people go to the future. No one can deny that Yunshin's all-round talent is so suitable for the Sanren profession. But the reason for the lingering is that the ceiling is too low. But now, after seeing that this awakened talent can evolve, there is not much reason to deny this combat all-rounder. Every member of the admissions office present didn't care about changing the venue, and directly initiated an invitation in this dilapidated and rotten place. Yunshin, as long as you come to our Dongfu University, I am willing to dedicate 3 A-level resources first. We Tianwu University are willing to give 3 pieces of gold equipment, as long as the academic year grades meet the standard, a minimum of A-level resources every year. We don't need any conditions. As long as you are willing to come, you can directly give 5 A-level resources and 5 B-level resources. Hey, how can you find fault? You're too bloody, aren't you? The admissions officers of major colleges and universities have long ignored the figure that fell to the ground in the distance. The European teacher of Kyungdi can be described as a breather of fire. After this loss of face for Qingda, and now being completely ignored by other colleges and universities, he finally couldn't bear to slap the table. Bang! This loud bang directly split a table, and also interrupted the noisy voice of the entire conference room like a vegetable market. What's the matter, Mr. O? You students of Qingda have lost the face of the school, so you don't have to compete with young people. Teacher Li Yage of Jiangnan University looked at him for the first time. Kyunging University student is still falling to the ground and screaming in pain. There is no priest present, you don't take him to treatment first. Yes, what are you still doing here? Do you still want to win this top student in the college entrance examination? Let's go quickly. As soon as you come up, You want Yunshin to forcibly change jobs, and your students still call themselves the top students in the college entrance examination in the past. Why are you still staying here? A group of teachers from the admissions office ridiculed them directly with a playful look. The top 7 colleges and universities are naturally not in the same way in terms of enrollment. They are already competitive, and now that there are 6 of them, it is naturally a good choice to leave one in advance. And by the way, you can also brush up on the goodwill in front of Yunshin. You. Teacher Ohua gritted his teeth, extremely annoyed. Is so disgusting, it is natural that you can't fight. He didn't dare to do anything to Yunshin. If it was spread that he was angry and attacked a young man, would it really continue to ruin Qingda's reputation? Don't say it's anyone else. I'm afraid Qingda won't be able to tolerate himself. Now that he was joined by other colleges and universities, Mr. Ohua endured it and didn't look back, and finally walked out of the conference room in a hurry. Under the response of a group of teachers, the Ohua teacher of Qingda naturally couldn't stand it and walked out of the conference room directly. Under his nose was Tian Yenjo, who fell to the ground in pain, and his body was almost burned to black charcoal. I'm sorry, but no one is in the medical department of Shinonome High School, and I've already called someone from the hospital to come over. Principal Fang on the side walked over, his face full of apologies. As the saying goes, don't hit a smiling person with a hand. It is impossible to determine whether the medical department of Shinonome High School is closed. However, if these people secretly make it difficult and let the ambulance come slowly, he can only let Tian Yenjo continue to be in pain, and even go into shock and die directly because of the extensive burns. It's a ruthless fireball technique, and it can also burn the mental. Ohua frowned. He didn't expect that such a simple fireball technique could transform into such a wonderful effect. He gritted his teeth. If he wanted to alleviate the pain and avoid shock, he could only take people away by himself. The people here were squeezed out. There was still a heated discussion on the other end of the room. Qingyun University, who didn't come, Qingda, who was squeezed out by the team, and the remaining 5 families in the top 7 are still frantically grabbing people. You Jingda dared to coax you, then our Tianwu will naturally accompany you to the end. Anyway, I'll put my words here, as much as you give, I will also send an extra A-level resource to your foundation. Interesting, do you really think children are playing house? The faculty of your Dongfu University has not been good in the past few years, and last year the National College Exchange competition was at the bottom, and you dare to compete with us. Then why don't you say that 4 years ago, we still won the first place in Dongfu? Snatching the top students in the college entrance examination in various provinces every year is basically such a quarrel process, and it is like a vegetable market to bargain with each other. Everyone is eager to give the best bargaining chips, and at the same time, they are also taking eye medicine in front of the top students in the college entrance examination to expose each other's old bottoms. At this time, Li Yage of Jiangnan University, who had been silent, stood up directly and spoke. In the past 10 years, the comprehensive faculty of our Jiangsu University has definitely ranked in the top 3, especially in the past 3 years. The freshman exchange competition has won the first place steadily. You have to believe in our Jiangnan University. As a major education province, Jiangnan Province undoubtedly has a strong faculty of the most powerful universities in the province. Especially in the past 3 years, the National College Exchange competition has been in the limelight. This is an irrefutable fact. HMPH, you Jiangda are going to recruit so many provincial champions this year, and when the time comes, I will see how your internal resources are allocated. Indeed, I don't believe that you Jiangda dare to write empty checks. This year, the number of university places has expanded a lot, and everyone's resources are limited, so give him one, and there will be one less over there, but don't write checks randomly. At this moment, all the spearheads were aimed at Jiangda. After all, this is Dongyun City in Jiangnan Province, and Yunshin is also the champion of Jiangnan Province. To be honest, it is not easy to really dig into the corner. Unless the other party's sincerity is too insufficient. Not. Though after seeing that the other party's awakening talent had actually evolved, and the ability to kill Qing University students in seconds, Li Yage, who came this time, already knew in her heart that this person had to be won. It's so worth investing in, Yunshin. I promise to give you low-level skill books for all professions. This is not limited to the Genryu country, but also includes the exclusive professions of the Fuso country, ninja, onmyoji, and samurai. And even witcher, wizard, vampire, and other professions in Western countries. As long as you have excellent grades, I can even guarantee you some low-level skills of hidden professions. Not only that, the alchemists and forges behind it, the high-level enchanters and alchemists, are ready to meet your needs for the Sanrin's homemade weapons. Finally, we're able to provide more ways to earn attribute points and skill points freely, but of course, you need to work your own. Li Yage directly threw out his own conditions, this moment. Even Principal Fang, Jin Sheng and other Dongyun teachers on the side all changed their faces. This Jiangnan University admissions teacher is really the right medicine. Full vocational skills book. You can even reach out to foreign unique professions, and even have the courage to take out the low-level skills of hidden professions. Then there is the need for loose self-made equipment, and more ways to obtain free attribute points and skill points. This is all the place where Yunshin, an unemployed person, needs it the most. The other academies focus on how many A-level resources are given, or how many pieces of golden equipment are met, and what conditions can be met to give you better resources, etc. But Li Yage threw a bombshell as soon as he came up. Damn. I didn't think of that. At this time, the other teachers were dumbfounded, and they could only blame the inertia of thinking, so they all used A-level resources as bargaining chips. As a result, unlike other previous champions, they don't need this thing at all. No, to be precise, these A-level resources are far less important than all-class skill books and casual homemade equipment. Damn it. It's over. This is indeed a difference between high and low. At least from the mind, it was completely exploded. My choice. Jiangnan University. A few seconds later, Yunshin, who had been silent, also gave the expected answer. Jiangnan University. Yunshin has already given his choice. In fact, as long as it is a TOP7 college, he doesn't care. After all, in his heart, the biggest help may not be the college, but the system. Especially after seeing that many S-level talents and skills were successfully given to him, he didn't have to spend too much effort to choose a college. On the whole, Jiangnan University is not far away, and if something happens, he can go home at any time to take care of his sister. In addition, the sincerity given by the admissions office teachers of Jiang University is the most sufficient. She knows how to impress an unemployed person with what conditions. Seeing that the results came out, the admissions offices of other colleges and universities didn't have much hope, and after congratulating them, they left one after another. Don't worry, the people of Qingda will not retaliate against you in private. Their skills are not as good as others, and they are willing to gamble and lose. This is the rule of the country. The group left the dilapidated conference room and made their way to the principal's office. Li Yage also made a guarantee here. Of course, they'll challenge you when they follow the rules. At this point, you have to pay attention to the national exchange competition, and the freshmen of Kyung University will definitely find their way back. Although this world advocates fighting, everything has to go through procedures and rules. Otherwise, the whole country would have been in chaos a long time ago. The people of Qingyun University are simply blind, and they are even more excessive than Qingda, and they don't even come to the figure. Principal Fang also began to spit at this time. It is estimated that after they learn that Yunshin's awakening talent has evolved, they will regret it. Hear the words. Li Yage also looked at Yunshin and said very solemnly, talent evolution is not an exception, and there is even a small possibility of secondary evolution. In my heart, you definitely have the qualifications to compete for the top 3 freshmen today, and in the future, you will most likely be in the leading position in the second stage of others. But if you want to go further, you need to extend your advantage to the 3-turn stage of your career, which requires you to work harder and have more opportunities. Another. I promise that your first shipment has been sent and will be delivered to you within today. Jiangnan University has not yet relied on these items. Of course, hundreds of skill books will definitely not be shipped, and they will be opened in the gallery in the form of credit free in the future. In order to show sincerity, the first batch of skill books arrived. The good news is that the scattered weapons you need most are among them. That bronze-level staff sword of yours can sit idle. In the next assessment, you don't have to carry an extra war gun. Today is definitely a day of great harvest for Yunshin. The meeting ceremony at Jiangnan University is still on the way. But the rewards from the top students in the college entrance examination have begun to be cashed out. The Jiangnan Provincial Education Bureau initiates a remittance of 10.000.000 to your Jiangnan Bank account with the Mantissa number 9527. The Dongyun City Education Bureau initiates a 2.000.000 remittance to your Jongmin Bank account with the Mantissa of 9527. Meantime, the A-level skill books given by Jongmin Province can be selected by Yunshin at will. In response to this, he personally chose a generic skill, Weakness, A. Weak, A. Weakens a single target unit, reducing its physical and magical resistance by 30%, and movement speed and attack speed by 35%. The A-grade Heavenly Treasure given by Jongmin Province was also selected as Fire Lingzi, A. After taking it, it can increase the individual's fire output ability, relying on the effect of the medicine, to play a fire injury bonus of at least 35%. It is worth mentioning that because the drug is too violent, some auxiliary materials are needed for neutralization and conditioning. Jongmin University, as an institution, has all the supporting facilities needed for a combat career, and the medicine can go to the school and be conditioned by a pharmacist. Of course, some ancillary materials and pharmaceutical expenses can only be consumed with credits. Li Yage specifically mentioned it here. As for the B-grade Heavenly Treasure gifted by Dongyun City, Yunshin chose the Lingba pill, which is already a successfully adjusted pill, and all attributes are +2 after taking it directly. And the Alchemy Elixir presented by Dongyun High School and the Alumni Association as unified representatives is also beneficial to all attributes. Generally speaking, under the same effect, the effect is not good after multiple doses. So Yunshin plans to give it to his sister Yuntang. It's really limited resources, I'm sorry, I can only get a B-level treasure. Principal Fang was a little embarrassed. As the only champion of the college entrance examination in Dongyun City, the future is unlimited, and even if the officials of Dongyun City come forward, they will not be able to get an A-level treasure. After all, Dongyun is a small place, and in a world of highly concentrated and monopolistic resources, it has taken a lot of effort to get a B-grade material. Yun Chen naturally didn't blame, he wasn't so careful. In addition to these, a villa courtyard officially donated by Dongyun City can be regarded as a temporary improvement of the living environment of my sister. In about 20 days, he will leave for the provincial capital city in advance and report to Jongmin University. As for the awards given by the enterprises of Dongyun City, of course, Yunshin also directly declined without exception. But there is also a small episode in this. Among the large enterprises in Dongyun City that have brushed their faces in the news media, no one expected that Dongyun's largest local company, Tianshan Biomedical Company, which has a market value of 100 billion, did not say anything. In the past few days, the media has been like rats smelling fishy, capturing incredible, important information at once. Some people revealed that the son of the CEO of Tianshan Medicine is also a student of this year's college entrance examination, and his results are top in the province, ranking in the top 10, but he is a book he studied in the provincial capital. Some people also said that Tianshan Medicine looked down on Yunshin and asserted that he couldn't go far. After so many days, major media and melon-eating personnel are arching the fire. But Yunshin didn't care too much. Your weapon has arrived. It's less than dinner time in the afternoon. A precious weapon sent from Jongmin University has also arrived at Dongyun City High School. This is a golden weapon that can be switched in multiple forms. The weapon arrived. A gold-quality weapon that can switch between the three forms of a spear, a staff, and a sword. It's not uncommon for weapons to switch between two forms, but it's rare for people to play three-form weapons. The dual-form weapon of the swordsman class, which is generally split into two one-handed swords with a giant broadsword, is very suitable for two-handed swords, and the giant sword is used by both masters. Among them, there is also a series of weapons such as swords and shields, in which the sword and shield are combined into one, and the shield becomes the scabbard of the great sword. In fact, quite a few classes have a choice of multiple weapons. Like the charge of the warrior class, the assault skill can be used with a sword and shield in addition to the use of a war gun. Even the combination of the staff and the long knife is very popular with the magic swordsman. After all, the demon sword master is a genuine demon martial arts cultivator, and there are not a few people who hold a sword in one hand and a staff in the other. But going up a little further, the three-form transformation weapon is indeed rarely played, as Li Yage said. Weapon. Bewitched. Breaking the formation. Quality. Gold 3-star.
Attributes. Strength +10, Wisdom +10. Effect. Three forms can be switched.
When in the form of a war spear, the body of the spear is enchanted with daylight, and its physical attack and armor penetration are increased by 35%. When in the form of a sword, The blade is enchanted with red evil, and each attack has a 25% bleed effect. When in scepter form, the wand is enchanted with purple shadow, increasing spell damage and spell penetration by 35%. Racial restrictions. Terran, level requirements, 12. Class restrictions. Warrior, swordsman, magic swordsman, magician. When Yunshin officially got his hands on this weapon, the relevant information pop-up window was immediately displayed. As an unemployed person, the relevant occupational restrictions cannot bind him. So, the moment the magic power in Yunshin's body communicated with the weapon, the entire weapon, which was initially in the form of a scepter, suddenly made the prismatic magic crystal inlaid at the head of the wand release a purple luster. The scepter's enchanted, purple shadow, luster is very spiritual. Yun Chen, who was in the school's training ground, directly sent out a few magic spells, and his strength exploded, destroying several self-moving range robots in an instant. Compared to the previous bronze scepter, it was really powerful, and it had risen more than a few levels. Of course, this is also the classic sword in staff structure. When Yunshin held the end of the staff, the prism of the head of the staff had already entered the body of the staff. With a slight twitch, he pulled out an incomparably slender straight blade. Perhaps it was because of the fluctuation of combat power in the body, and the surface of the blade instantly stimulated a layer of blood-red luster. The bloody covering effect is officially formed. Maybe it's an illusion, but there's really a smell of blood. Yunshin took a step, rushed forward, and waved twice casually. Phew. The two blades intertwined with each other, cutting through the air one after another, and two extremely straight cracks appeared on the robot in front of him, and the detached device fell directly to the ground. In the process, he also pulled a beautiful sword flower along the water. Not bad. After Yunshin sighed, he returned to the sword and entered the staff, and the staff body returned to the form of a scepter again. Another thought, the weapon that was originally in the form of a scepter actually changed at the head of the scepter, and the inlaid prismatic magic crystal shrank inward, and the tip of the spear was formed under the slight change. Under the stimulation of the power, a layer of pale white luster suddenly appeared on the surface. This is the daylight enchantment effect that comes with the war gun, and the physical attack and armor penetration have been greatly improved. He held a gun in one hand, and the heavy nearly 2-meter battle gun was actually a tiger being wielded. When the forward attack stabbed suddenly, the tip of the spear glowed with a more blazing white light, and suddenly condensed into one point, as if a ball of light with an arc of light burst forward. Whoosh! With a force, Yunshin's gun shot out like a dragon, and the blazing white light suddenly penetrated the armored robot in front of him. Under the daylight enchantment, armor penetration is greatly increased. Boom! Not only that, but when this penetrating force was completely released, the robot in front of him suddenly exploded from the inside out. It's a really good weapon. Whether it is a war spear, a long sword, or a staff, they all have their own characteristics, and even have various enchantment attributes. This allows the holder to absolutely use the pattern for a specific situation. This does have the flavor of breaking the formation. In addition, the various special effects and enchantment effects are indeed very much in line with the title of the demonic series. This is the demonic breaking formation, a golden 3-star weapon, one of the great gifts from Zhongnan University. Not bad, not bad. Teacher Li Yage, who had been watching from a distance, clapped his hands. Beside him, there was also a teacher from Zhongnan University who was responsible for transporting the supplies. At this moment, his eyes are also shining. To be honest, the cash-out that Li Yage sent to Zhongnan Champion was a bit out of the expected specifications. Now that he has witnessed this jobless man simply showing his hands, this Zhongnan University teacher can still see a lot of details at a glance. A quick casting talent that most mage classes don't have. It's no wonder that Kyungin University students were beaten violently, and they were killed in seconds after 3 moves. In addition, this kid does have good swordsmanship ability, and he also plays a good war gun. He is a combat all-rounder. I am also very optimistic about this champion of Zhongnan Province. It seems that this year's freshman conference is full, and I heard that the teachers in charge of enrollment in other provinces are also a bumper harvest, and the enrollment quota is exceeded. In the past 3 years, Zhongnan University has indeed been in the limelight, and the National College Exchange Competition has won the first place for 3 consecutive years, so it is no wonder that more and more talents will flock to it. When the time comes, it will depend on whose champion has a high gold content. This weapon has also been vacant in the school for a long time, and now it has waited for its owner. Weapon qualities are generally divided into ordinary, tabula rasa, black iron, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, legendary, etc. Each quality has star ratings. Generally speaking, the common ones are 1 to 3 stars. However, with the help of some enchanters, it is possible to break through the existing specifications, and 4-star, 5-star, and even 6-star can appear. Of course, generally speaking, low-quality weapons can be ignored, and instead of wasting money to enchant, it is better to honestly change to a higher quality weapon. After all, enchantment is also a very risky behavior, and some weapons that fail to enchant will even drop their stars and quality, and the worst thing is to break them directly. Many people's main weapons are exchanged for a lifetime of savings, and if the enchantment fails, it is really a tragedy in the world. Therefore, in the world, ordinary people are not encouraged to enchant and ascend to the stars. It's hard to find high-quality multi-form transformation weapons. The market hasn't had such a strange demand before, so you can think of this strange formation as your new weapon embryo. Once you've collected the enchantment materials, you can ask the enchanters to help you rise to a star. All of this can be done in Jiangnan University, as long as you save enough credits. The teacher from Jiangnan University, who came together, explained to Yunshin. After the 3-form conversion weapon adapted to the scattered people arrived, the first batch of promised skill books also arrived. As a meeting gift for the champion of Jiangnan province, it naturally can't be too shabby and petty. There are 3 low-level skills of the Onmyoji of Fuso country. Shikigami Earthbound Spirit. The effect is presumably to place a groundbinder in an area, and targets who step into it will be confused and unable to leave their place. It's kind of like a mechanic's trap. Shikigami Wind Spirit. When cast, it's about the same as a continuous buff spell, and the movement speed and attack speed are increased while the wind spirit is there. Spell. Soul Confusion. Casting a spell on a single target confuses the spirit. Enemy attacks will also be missed, losing the enemy's direction, or even losing the number of enemies. As an exclusive profession in Fuso, Onmyoji is very good at exorcising spirits and subduing demons, and casting spells. In terms of positioning, it has the same crispy body as the magician, but it does not have the AoE output of the magician. Though Onmyoji is very difficult, and Shikigami can play the effect of summoner. Other than that, there are also primary skills, smoke bombs, and blinding methods that also come from the ninja profession of Fuso country. The samurai professions, charge slash, ei slash, as well as the primary skills, exorcism, hunting hour, and silver bullet, from the Western realm Witcher class. It is worth mentioning that the Witcher class is also a dual weapon class, which requires a blade and a gun. Smoking a cigar, wearing a Western cowboy hat, holding a sword in one hand, and a gun at his waist, he can basically be described as a Witcher. After that, there are some elementary skills of the wizarding profession, and some more general primary skills. If it weren't for the foreign primary skills book sent by Jiangnan University, Yunshin really wouldn't have understood the foreign vocational system. Of course, some of the vampire, werewolf, demon descendant class systems can't be given to you in the beginner skill books. The teacher at Jiangnan University said, "It's not that they buckle, it's, as the name of the profession suggests, it is a profession that requires conversion of a specific ethnic origin to learn. Shinonome City is just a corner of the place, a small place, and rarely seen. If it weren't for the internet, Yunshin wouldn't even know that there were other races in many places. This is very clearly visible, because the Earthlings who landed in the Game of God's domain 70 years ago had at least hundreds of millions of people, and many players did not choose the human race to start, but chose elves, goblins, orcs, dwarves, halflings and other races. As the game gradually overlaps with reality, these bloodlines are brought with them. In addition, the game came to reality, not only the class system and dungeons, but also the big map, NPC characters, major forces, and the leveling points, in the eyes of players were all formed on the Earth. That's why the Earth's surface area has expanded by tens of thousands of times. Some intelligent races other than the human race suddenly came, and over the past 70 years, many people have intermarried and formed alliances with them. Naturally, this has brought about a number of social problems. At least Dongyun City is a little repulsive to foreigners, among which, because of the 20-year Ghost City tragedy, the orcs are the most unpopular. Shinonome is very small. The world is very. When you get to Jongmin University, you can expand your horizons, which the internet can't tell you. The teacher of Jongmin University sighed very much. He also misses the youth of Jongmin University 20 years ago. The kind of joy that strives for youth and constantly upgrades. And the shock and hesitation that I feel when I witness the truth of the world step by step. It's all gone. It just so happens that teacher Li Yage and I will be working in the neighborhood for a while. In half a month, we will personally take you to Jangda. No matter how important the top students in the previous college entrance examinations are, in peacetime, there will be no teacher to escort them to school. Not. Though I just happened to run into a work affair nearby, so I just bumped into each other and went back to Jongmin University. P.S. To add the world view and the background of this book, in fact, Filu has a lot of game texts where games are about to come to reality, but their books are all players back then. The book is set in the aftermath of 70 years of complete consecration. Career system, dungeons, large maps, major races, it's all in reality. It's like a WoW online game player facing the Burning Legion's expedition. And the game of God's domain back then was also facing a crisis that came from the rift. Until now, it has not been resolved. There is still some time before I report to school. During this time, Yunshin began to frantically hone his combat skills, becoming familiar with the new weapon, demon-breaking formation. He had to master the 3 enchantment properties of the new weapon in order to target specific enemies well. Yunshin, who has always been steady, never does things that he is not sure of. Everything is deep thought and familiar. It's like a copy of the college entrance examination, running out of blue energy, not resting, and rushing directly to the next level in order to compete for time, which caused a burst of doubts in the audience. But before that, he had already thought about using the sharpshooter's bullets to sweep the audience. To do this, the backpack space is filled with 3 bullets. Then is the last level to face the commander boss, and the blood explosion has also caused a lot of controversy. But that was because Yunshin was very good at controlling his attack output, and he was 100% sure that he could interrupt the enemy's skills. This is undoubtedly the result of training over time. In addition to training your combat skills with new weapons, the most important ones are the daily missions. Running, 10 km, 10 km, push-ups, 100 100s, sit-ups, 100 100s. Squat, 100 100s, ding. When you complete a daily mission, you can get a reward from the following selections. Reward 1. Gain 10 free attribute points. Reward 2. Gain 10 skill points. Reward 3. Random skill book, after selecting 2. Yunshin suddenly had 10 more skill points, and the arrival of the new skill book also made his daily reward distribution more evenly for skill points. Fortunately, the benefits of primary skills are even incomparably less in terms of skill points. Half a month later, Dongyun City, Genting Villa, a villa mansion. Under the training ground that comes with it, Yunshin's figure is ghostly. In an instant, his body flickered one after another, and in a matter of seconds, he appeared in more than a dozen places on the training ground one after another. Not only that, but the phantom figure was able to pass through the surrounding walls. The ironclad walls of the training ground were like invisible air, allowing Yunshin's figure to shuttle freely. Divine Flash. God-level secret arts. The supreme reward produced by the system. Now, Yunshin can be regarded as having figured out the basic effect of the divine light. As long as you want, depending on your own blue consumption, you can teleport as far as you can see. But, at the moment, my limit distance is less than 2 kilometers. And this magic flash can really pass through space, at least the obstacles can't stop their pace at all. In addition, the most important thing is that the divine flash is worthy of being a god-level secret technique. No matter how far away it is fleeting, and there is no so-called forward swing and waiting time at all. At least Yunshin, who is very sensitive to the timing of battles, really doesn't like the ability to take too much starting time when fighting alone. As for the S+ level talent gifted by the system, it is extraordinary self-healing. A few days ago, Yun Chen was ruthless in his heart, and he slid an almost bony scar on his arm. As a result, within a second, without waiting for the blood to spurt out wantonly, the broken wound was quickly healed, and there was no trace of the cut scar in sight. Since then, he has known that there are basically no fatal injuries that can hurt himself. And then there's your own four-dimensional attributes. Strength, 80. Constitution, 80. Dexterity, 78. Intelligence, 79. Does not include any weapon attribute bonuses. In addition to the 10 points of the daily reward, there are also some rewards for the effects of heaven and earth. If it weren't for the skill points, Yunshin's four-dimensional attributes would also be higher. Let's be honest. At the same level, Xiao Wen, the number 1 seed of Dongyun High School before, is estimated to be completely destroyed by the current Yunshin's basic attributes. Even if he majors in one, all free attribute points are only given one basic attribute, which is not comparable to his fully and evenly developed attribute panel. The ordinary students in the second year of the Qing University were defeated by themselves in 3 moves. Is about to go to Zhongnan University. Yunshin also wants to see how much gold the proud son of heaven from all over the world has. Yuntang. If you have any difficulties at school or in ordinary life, please call me directly. On the couch. Brother and sister sitting side by side are communicating. I know, brother, but you have to be careful when you're out and about. Yun Tang put his hands on his knees and sat on the sofa. His whole white and flawless delicate face fell on his knees, but his youthful face could not hide his lost look. Tomorrow we will be separated. The two of them did not board in school life, so naturally they could see each other every day. Now, the brothers who depend on each other are finally facing a period of separation because of their studies. Yunshin looked at his sister's reddened eyes and reached out to rub her head. Don't worry, I'll be back at least once a month. The distance between the provincial capital of Zhongnan and Dongyun City is not too far. For his sister in this world, Yunshin, who has always attached importance to the concept of family, will naturally not leave behind the plan for Yuntang. Yuntang is now in his second year of junior high school, and his awakening talent has not yet appeared. However, Yunshin had already planned her life arrangements for her sister. She will definitely live the best life and have the best educational resources. I must also gain a foothold in Zhongnan University within a year, and if I can, I will take her over and let her go to the best high school in the provincial capital. While Yun Tang's awakening talent has not yet appeared, Yun Chen will also find a way to find a good elixir to stimulate her potential talent to become stronger. It's okay. Yun Tang is much stronger than he imagined, and his ability to take care of himself is much higher than that of his peers. Leaving her alone, he is still very relieved at the moment. Following. A sedan had already stopped in front of the small courtyard of the villa. Yunshin's luggage had been loaded into the trunk. With Yun Tang's tearful eyes waving, Yun Chen, who had made his last advice, had already left Gending Villa in a black car. You can't take a car from Shinonome City to the provincial capital, it's too far. It's the same province, but it was an administrative division that was established 70 years ago. After the world changed, the geography has completely changed, and now, Zhongnan province is much bigger than before. We don't go to the airport by car, instead, I'm going to leave Shinonome by getting to the provincial capital more quickly. The place where the black car rushed was not the airport. Before arriving at the destination, teacher Li Yage also explained. It's not that airplanes can't fly, but you need to take a detour along a relatively long route, and many places are no-fly zones. Yunshin also probably understood the reason. As we all know, the surface area of the entire Earth increased by tens of thousands of times 70 years ago. The reason is that in the game map of the year, the leveling points for players to kill monsters all came to reality. Back then, the crust section continued to tear out gaps one after another, and one game map after another emerged from it. Many mountains have been torn in half by force, separated by tens of thousands of meters, and an endless twilight savanna has been formed within them. More human cities, in the same way, are separated by a variety of new landforms emerging from the ground. In the year when the Earth's surface area suddenly expanded by tens of thousands of times, the Xuanlong Kingdom also benefited from this, and its territory expanded at least hundreds of times. Of course, that year, all the people of the Xuanlong Kingdom also had a headache. Because these sudden new landscapes are all in the game, many of them are serious, leveling points, full of dangerous monsters. After 70 years of development, the game map that emerged from the ground has basically stabilized a lot. At least the outbreak of the beast tide and other things that endanger the whole city have not happened from the Xuanlong country for more than 10 years. However, many new landscapes have set up no-fly zones. In addition, there are too many birds, which is too dangerous. And the place they choose to arrive at is a garrison base in Shinonome City. The teleportation circle burned by the mages in each station base can quickly mobilize large armies from all over the country in the event of a crisis, and it is very convenient to support. The Corps commander asked us Zhang Da to do something, so this can call the teleportation circle to return to the provincial capital. Previously, Zhang University teacher Shou Yichun once stayed in Dongyun City for a while, and he was busy with a lot of things. With the approval of the Corps commander, everyone came to a facility. I saw that the floor of the entire facility was covered with magic crystal porcelain blocks, and there were many engraved cross patterns on the surface. Buzz. When the magic power appeared in the lines under the soles of the feet, the entire teleportation array immediately glowed with a dazzling luster. I'll get a little dizzy, but I'll be fine after getting used to it. The teacher's words of reminder had just fallen. The three of them, along with their luggage, all disappeared in place. Jiangnan Province, the provincial capital, Tianan City. A world-renowned Jiangnan University is located on the edge of the provincial capital. It is bordered by the Great Wind Range to the north and the entire bustling metropolis to the southeast. The whole college is located between the riverside, which has a very dense river and has a lot of ancient scenery of the water towns in the south of the Yangtze River. Of course, there are many fantastical palaces among them. Due to the different styles of the major colleges in the interior, the architectural styles are also very different. In a teleportation palace inside the school, the figures of Yunshin and the three of them directly crossed countless distances in less than 3 seconds, and came to Jiangnan University in an instant. Let's go to the new student registration office to register first. Yunshin's hand has been stuffed with a Jiangnan University freshman guidebook. At tomorrow's freshman meeting, the house leaders will announce how the houses will be assigned. When the time comes, you just have to make your own choice. Perhaps because he was very optimistic about this young man, Shou Yichun, who was a little lively, was also willing to make friends, and suddenly said a few more words. Here, cash money doesn't do much use, everything is based on credits. Credits. It's your students' circulating currency, which can buy everything you want and upgrade resources. In addition, this year's freshmen at Jiangnan University are said to be the most luxurious ever. In addition to the achievements of the support of compulsory education in Xuanlong State, it is the banner of Jiangda that is more and more attractive to people from all provinces. So, you have to be careful, don't be arrogant, let alone offend people in your life, although the school doesn't say it explicitly, but it is also willing to settle grievances between students through the arena. After Shou Yichun finished saying these words earnestly, he patted Yunshin's shoulder and left separately. Li Yage, who went back to the admissions office with him on the side, was a little funny. It seems that you are very optimistic about Yunshin. What is the exact condition? It depends on tomorrow's freshman conference. How much can you see where his strength is at this stage after grabbing the ranking? Jiangnan University is not ordinarily large. The new student registration area alone has set up 18 stations on campus. Under the guidance of the freshman handbook, Yunshin dragged his suitcase and directly found the nearest check-in office. Junior brother, this. Here, wow. There's a tall and handsome freshman, go and receive it. Whenever college freshmen arrive, seeing handsome guys and beauties is naturally the most exciting place for students at these reception points. There was such a slender and sturdy figure with a handsome face. Before Yunshin arrived, 2 women trotted over, and the one on the left was very excited to help carry the luggage. The one on the right has already taken the resumes of the new students, turned around and ran back, and immediately asked the student council members in front of the workbench to register. First of all, the name is Cloud. Chen. At this moment, the hand of the student council member holding the pen to register shook slightly. She looked up directly at the oncoming figure, Yunshin. Oh my god. This is not the champion of Jiangnan Province, the legendary unemployed. The words fell. The members of the student council and the volunteers in the entire registration office all looked at the new student who suddenly arrived. Even the freshmen who came around looked at the man beside him. Apparently, Yunshin, who has a rather unusual fighting style and won the top prize in the college entrance examination with no job, his reputation has already spread throughout the school. The name of the man, the shadow of the tree, Yunshin's name is really thunderous. For so many years, the champion of Jiangnan Province has been falling on the head of the provincial capital city and the 2 surrounding economically strong cities. Now, Yunshin, who is from Dongyun City and can be called a small place, has counterattacked the top position and successfully won the top prize in the college entrance examination. As a major education province, Jiangnan province has been full of gold content in the past provincial champions, and they will basically have a head and face in the future. By force alone, one place can be defended and one side can be kept at peace. No matter how bad it is, it can benefit the local people from the side of the government. In this way, the top student in the college entrance examination in Jiangnan province is full of topicality and is the most concerned existence among new students. On this basis, Yunshin broke the tradition of his previous origin. Coming from a small place, and with a rather controversial, the top student in the college entrance examination who won the identity of an unemployed person. This Yunshin is the legendary, of the unemployed and scattered people. The top student in our province's college entrance examination is here. But, this person is still very tall and handsome, and it is more than enough to be a star. Under the whisper. The senior sister who took the resume report information was briefly shocked and immediately continued to register. Her attention was all on the subsequent career filling. Blank. None. There is no information on the career option. Just like the answers presented in the college entrance examination results. This man has no profession. Because some online games do have a casual play that does not change jobs, they're called unemployed casual people. It's just that it's not a game, that's the reality. According to the level of the opponent's resume is 14, then it means that the opponent has lost at least 12 points in the free attribute points. In the same way, there is also a lot of loss of skill points. Being in Jiangnan University, they have seen too many people being beaten because of a little attribute gap. Because he lacked a little attack distance and a little agility attributes, he was stuck in position by the magician's kite, so that he couldn't hit an effective attack until he failed miserably. Because of the lack of a little wisdom attribute, the cast speed is slowed down, and there are many examples of defeat. The difference is 1,000 miles. Everyone is the pride of the sky from all over the world. A mistake, a slight gap in the basic attributes, and the lack of their own details are likely to lead to their own defeat. After all, there are too many talented students at Jiangnan University. At least he really didn't seem to be planning to change jobs. The registered senior sighed in her heart. Recently, there have been some gossip about each other at school. What is the choice of unemployed scattered people is to exploit the loopholes, college entrance examination. Sacrificing the future, just for the college entrance examination, the deformed product of exam-oriented education. Some people even said that after the college entrance examination, this guy will definitely be transferred and upgraded, so as to avoid losing more basic attributes. For now, this assertion is wrong. With complicated thoughts, the members of the student council who were in charge of entering the information were a few beats slower. Alright. The registration of new students was successful. Due to the relationship between the top students in the college entrance examination, some fees are even waived. And the freshmen who also reported on the side of the site also looked at Yunshin from time to time. As if he was an imaginary enemy, I took a general look and remembered what he looked like. Alright, let me take you to the freshman dormitory now. The senior sister who was very enthusiastic just now volunteered. Even if Yunshin still insisted on holding the suitcase, there were still 2 people who followed him out of the site. The vast majority of freshmen have complex complexions. They didn't have such a good treatment, and some people took them to the accommodation area. This guy is good looking, and 2 senior sisters led the way. The hatred of Yunshin in the hearts of the nearby freshmen couldn't help but rise. The people haven't arrived yet, and tomorrow is the freshman conference. But before, Yunshin, have you already thought about what academy you want to go to? Jiangnan University has 5 faculties: War College, Elemental Academy, Weapons Academy, Tactical Academy, Associate College. The students who choose the War College are all committed to the frontline battlefield, and they are born to kill. Strictly speaking, there are no restrictions on any professions. However, the Elemental Academy focuses on the cultivation of magical power, and magicians generally enter this academy. As the name suggests, the Weapons Academy focuses on how you master the weapons in your hands and control your body, rather than relying too much on skills. The Tactical Academy is more theoretical guidance, and generally not obsessed with fighting, and students who are interested in civilian careers have chosen this. The other is the Vice Vocational College. It's basically unrelated to the combat profession, and the juniors can ignore it. The sub-vocational college is flourishing, including the enchantment department, the forging department, the pharmaceutical department, the talisman system, the alchemy department, the breeding department, the manufacturing department, and so on. It's just that people who are committed to their main profession naturally don't go to the deputy vocational college. Each of the 4 main colleges has its own strengths and emphases. Not. Though thinking that Yunshin is a jobless person, it seems that the 4 colleges can go there. The War College is all-encompassing. As long as you have an incomparably firm and unyielding will to fight, you can apply for admission. Just look at the determination and will. There is not much threshold for Yunshin. Needless to say, the Elemental Academy naturally has no problem with its own magic power, and no job is proficient in everything, so magic should be no problem. The Weapons Academy focuses on mastering weapons, tempering the body, and improving combat skills. However, in the case of the Tactical Academy, it is estimated that Yunshin has no intention of engaging in civilian work, and people who are keen on fighting will basically not consider it. At your level, I think the War College is fine, and the best people are basically the first choice. After some introductions, the 3 of them followed the street signs to find Yunshin's freshman dormitory. In front of me is a very luxurious single-family mansion. The house number is 001. The mansion has 3 floors, and the facilities inside are extremely luxurious, with a separate training ground, a gym, a separate hot spring pool, a complete set of smart furniture and equipment, and a luxurious home theater. The most outrageous thing is that there is an exclusive sports track within the walls of the mansion, and there is a warehouse for the owner to place resources at any time. The entire mansion covers an area much larger than the villa in Dongyun City under Yunshin's name. But considering the huge gap in housing prices between the provincial capital city and Dongyun City, it can be said that the value of this villa is sky high. Outrageous. All in all, it's outrageous. This is also the first time we have come to Dorm 1. The 2 seniors also saw each other for the first time, and they only felt shocked. Under their explanation, Yunshin realized that everyone's accommodation conditions may be very different. The top 50 students are able to live in a single-family mansion, followed by a 1-person single room, a 2-person dormitory, and a 4-person dormitory. As the top student in the college entrance examination in Jiangnan province, Yunshin was assigned the best accommodation conditions. It is reported that even if it is the top 10, the mansions where they live are different, and the second dormitory does not have a separate warehouse and runway. Now you default to being number 1. Not only the accommodation, but the resources you allocate are the best. I don't know if it's lucky or unlucky. In the next freshman competition, you may be the target of public criticism, and everyone will definitely want to take your place. According to the 2 seniors, the freshman competition will be held soon, mainly to re-rank the freshmen. According to the convention, the fast is 10 days later, the slow is half a month. Anyway, a new round of reshuffle will start soon. Named Lin Yun, Li Jia's senior sister is embarrassed to continue to stay, and there is quite a lot of work in the freshman registration office. After a while of small talk, he also left the mansion. Today, new students from the 37 provinces of the Xuanlong Kingdom have arrived one after another. The entire huge Jiangnan University is like a vast ocean, and the influx of so many newcomers can't afford to make a splash. At night, Yunshin standing on the roof of the mansion looked into the distance. He soon discovered that the number 1 mansion was not only large, but also on high ground. Just looking at the surrounding scenery can be seen from afar, and a kind of pride overlooking the world arises spontaneously. It is no wonder that rich and powerful people like to stand on high places, and there is a feeling of stepping on the soles of their feet. It's almost all there. At this moment, Yunshin also found that many lights in the dormitory area of the freshmen had been lit. Maybe it's because the lights of the mansion on the hill in the same accommodation area are too bright and too close. Yun Chen, who had a keen sense, had already felt the looming gaze from far away. In this alone, he is indeed the most conspicuous target. Following, Yunshin, who got up early, is still very self-disciplined. 100 sit-ups. 100 squats. 100 push-ups. After having a private runway supporting a luxury house, Yunshin doesn't have to look for land, and it is very convenient to run long distances on his own runway. Ding! Daily mission completed. You can earn rewards from the following options. 1. Gain 10 free attribute points. 2. Gain 10 skill points. 3. Obtain a random document. The 3 number of the daily reward is not a constant layer. Sometimes it's a random skill book, sometimes it's a random weapon. Today it's random material. However, Yunshin does not bet on probability, and he has always been steady and will directly ignore this reward. And that's when, ding, it has been detected that the new life ratio is approaching, and a new achievement mission has been announced. Achievement mission. Please maintain the first ranking in the freshman competition. Failure penalty. None. Reward. A new S-rank skill, Lucky Potion. A new mission is finally here. Yunshin's black and white eyes that were as clear as the moon flashed with a cold light. Even without a system mission, he didn't plan to give up the house. He was not a humble man. In the eyes of many first and sophomores of Dongyun High School, Yunshin, who broke through at that time, was a ruthless and indifferent monster-killing machine. Every attack is straight to the point, cold and cruel. This is a man who is full of violent aesthetics and cold and arrogant. Yunshin also knew that there were many so-called heavenly pride in the school, who were waiting to challenge him. There are also many who question themselves for creating a new path for the unemployed. About it he doesn't choose to ignore it, like an ostrich with its head buried in the sand. These doubts will soon be shattered. Those doubts will also be stuffed back into their mouths by his own hands. We are all freshmen in high school. Why is dormitory number 1 still a mansion located on the top of a hill, and we can only live at the bottom of the hillside? It's unpleasant to think of that guy standing on the balcony looking down on us. From last night to this morning, the new students who have been staying in the freshman dormitory are full of slander. Are you kidding? Everyone present can apply for Zhongnan University, which is not the pride of heaven in various places in Xuanlong Kingdom. A lot of people are among the best in their local high schools. The results. As soon as they came to Zhongnan University, they found that they were artificially given a default ranking. Each freshman was artificially divided into 3, 6, 9, and so on. Some people live in luxury houses, some live in a single room, some live in a double dormitory, and some live in 4 people nestled in a dormitory. It's outrageous. The worst thing is that the default ranking gives the corresponding credit. Zhongnan University's supermarkets, canteens, laboratories, shops, skill exchange halls, special training grounds, weapon sales centers, and alchemy synthesis desks most of them have to be purchased with credits. It's cruel, isn't it? The proud students from 37 provinces and all over the world have all chosen the best universities in the past 3 years. When I first arrived, I was also stimulated by the rules that were like the law of the jungle. Complaining is complaining. They didn't regret their choice. Because all the canteens of Zhongnan University are supplied. Haute cuisine, even premium cuisine, is a food cooked by a sub-professional chef. Long-term consumption of high-end cuisine alone can nourish the whole body, subtly improve root bones, and enhance cell vitality. In the outside period, they really can't have the energy of Zhongnan University, which allows a group of cooks to act as a general assembly line for workers to produce food 24 hours a day. Not only that, but the school shop also sells all kinds of treasures that are not accessible to the outside world. The quality of the natural treasure, cherished vocational skill books, or a variety of rare general skill. Abundant. Of precious materials, all kinds of furs, tendons, and even magic crystal, plucked from the monsters. A variety of super effective life and mana potions. There should be something here. There are valuable treasures in the outside world, and you can buy them here as long as you use credits. How can this not make the pride of these days crazy and excited? This is a university of supreme strength, and as long as you have credits, you can buy everything you dream of. But the root of all evil is this credit. They have learned that in addition to ranking corresponding gifts, the acquisition of credits is also obtained by learning, studying various courses to meet performance standards, doing tasks, and even promotion rewards. But at the moment, the course has not yet begun. They have no way to get credits. The root of all evil, after all, is the unfairness of the initial rankings. I can't convince the crowd at all. I heard that the top students of the college entrance examination in many provinces have also arrived at Zhong University, and they are very dissatisfied. After all, the content of the exam questions in each province is different. Why is that Yunshin ranked first? Well said. I think he has the advantage of the household registration book at most. The freshmen who were troubled by the credit problem were very unified and aimed at Yunshin. Who called him the first person to benefit? The thought of overlooking them at night makes people feel unpleasant. Other than that, when I heard that the champion of Zhongnan province turned out to be the so-called unemployed scattered person, it attracted a lot of doubts. This person is simply a deformed product of the college entrance examination system. Has anyone gone to the arena to challenge this Yunshin? He dares not to fight, and it is his face, which also proves that this default ranking is completely groundless. Okay. As long as the first person loses, this ranking will definitely become a joke. The hot-blooded teenagers seem to be dissatisfied. In a teaching building, Yi Anfu, the dean of the War Academy, met with several other deans. The teacher outside has already reported the dissatisfaction of the new students. They seem to be very skeptical of the initial rankings. Of course, questioning can be. It's just that there is a difference in strength between the 800 and 900 ranks. Hear the words. Teacher Shou Yichun, who was present on the side, laughed. I heard from my classmates in the student union that these people are very dissatisfied with the number 1 ranking, but Yunshin has become the target of public criticism. Many people also say that the same provincial champion, why is Yunshin the first, why should some other provincial champions be willing to be lower? Is this a provincial hukou background that takes advantage? There is a lot of truth in this argument. A certain degree of regional bias has also resonated with many people. It's just, they've underestimated my assessment of combat power. War College Yi Anfu shook his head, and the motto of Zhongnan University is that the coast is all rivers, and tolerance is great, which really flattens our personality. To be honest, compared to being underestimated in the evaluation of combat power, this kind of questioning of character really disappointed Yi Anfu. In fact, most of the teachers in this room alone, including Yi Anfu himself, are not from Zhongnan province. Even today's headmaster is from the province. The sea is inclusive, and there is tolerance. Zhongnan University has always been able to accommodate countless rivers like the sea, and only such a broad mind and big pattern can be in the limelight in recent years. Well, let them touch the nails. The back ranking may be wrong, but the first place in the front row is definitely wrong. Shou Yichun had already informed the dean of the information about the transformation and evolution of Yunshin's awakening talent. For this reason, Yi Anfu is so determined. The copies of the college entrance examination of the champions in each province are not the same, but after watching the college entrance examination video of each person, you can roughly understand the other party's professional school, combat skills, and grasp of details. Yunshin is the most outstanding and even excellent man among them. Another. The scale of new students this year has indeed increased by 2 or 3 times, and the follow-up rankings are indeed unfair, and they cannot be, in all aspects. In that case, the freshman is more advanced than the direct one. Just today, as the old dean, Yi Anfu has the highest seniority and the oldest, and his words are naturally unquestionable. The teacher below also began to draft the notice and prepare the opening copy. And at this moment, I think that tonight's freshman assembly will have to divide every freshman. All the deans in the room were a little unable to sit still. I think that Yunshin's combat skills are good, and he has a natural fighting instinct like me, so he let people teach me. Dean Shaw of the Weapons Academy stood up directly and said, "This is a young and excessively young woman, 26 years old, the youngest in the scene, dressed in white and peerless. Even the slightly loose hospital uniform can't hide its graceful tall figure underneath, and the temperament and height of the whole person are enough to remind people of Victoria's Secret models. That's not. He has a rare talent for rapid spell casting, instant magic is very fast, and his magic foundation is not weak. Even if he can't go through the route of being a jobless person, he can turn into a magician or a magic sword master at any time." Dean Wu of the Elemental Academy couldn't sit still either. They met here to compete for the students, and Yunshin, the first person, has already been favored by the deans. Don't be in a hurry. Wait until tonight's freshman competition is over, set a new ranking, and then let them choose. The old god Yi Anfu was there, and he smiled very leisurely. The War College has been the number 1 among all colleges and universities in recent years, and its philosophy naturally appeals to young people who are eager to fight and rush to the front lines. So, he's the least in a hurry, and right in this moment. A group of freshmen who were dissatisfied and questioned the initial ranking had already pointed the finger at Yunshin. Coupled with the subversion of tradition such as unemployed and scattered people, it is simply a deviant thing, which is full of controversy. The combination of the two can be described as adding fuel to the fire. Come. Let's go together. Let's go see the next mansion. Let's also go and see where this so-called jobless scattered person is, and dare to claim to be the first. Classes are not open at the moment. Idle is idle, and some people make up their minds to visit the number 1 mansion at the top of the lower hill. When you don't have a long walk on the road, you will find that there are various access controls and restrictions inside the whole big one, which is like a small town. Damn. Idlers and others can't go up the mountainside yet. If it is an ordinary access control, an ordinary iron gate will naturally not be able to block a finger of these people. But access to Zhongnan University often means dangerous devices set up by mechanics, or forbidden magic circles set up by magicians. No one dared to touch the mold, and dozens of people were naturally embarrassed in place. He's in luck. That's just at this time. Buzz. The school radio suddenly turned on a round of announcements. Everyone bound to the mobile phone in the school and also released a message in real time. Please bring your own equipment and weapons at 2 p.m. and arrive at Nagumo Plaza after staying in the best physical condition. At this moment, the mind of every freshman is also extremely excited. Bring your gear. Is this a freshman big than ahead of schedule? Okay, great. The rankings are going to be reshuffled. At the same time, in the luxury housing area where many new students can't enter, the top 100 mansion owners who are only worthy of moving in are all full of war. Very good. Now it's time to pull down the so-called unemployed scattered person from the first place. Among them, the existence of the top 10 rankings is all the top in the college entrance examination in each province, or the existence of the second in the province. In fact, some of the top 10 heavenly pride even plan to challenge in the arena to make this first place unworthy of the title, and if he dares to refuse, he will not be able to step down completely. Shen Tairangi, the top student in the college entrance examination from Dajo province, ranked second, only below Yunshin and above everyone. He didn't say a word, but his eyes looked out from time to time at the single-family mansion higher up the hillside. This is also a man who is self-disciplined to the extreme, and he is also a person who is very arrogant and noble in his heart. After checking that all the weapons were not depleted, he had a snack, and immediately fell asleep, ready to welcome the new student Dobby in the best spirits. First place. He's determined to win.